We're bringing back the mic in this video because I think it brings something extra to the video that I think it needs. But let me add the little thing. So if you're new, wait, okay, we're doing episode 3 recap. If you're new, subscribe, like this video, comment. Make sure you're checking out my other recaps because they're just as good. It means a lot to me if you left a comment, a like. Check out my latest videos because I've been posting a lot, so make sure you like and comment on them. Check out my podcast, Pretty Open-Minded, on Spotify. All my socials, everything is linked down below. And try to post notifications because YouTube is weird sometimes. People get my notifications, sometimes people don't, so make sure you have them on, or follow me on Instagram because I post updates. Excuse you. I post updates about my channel all the time on there, so make sure you follow me on Instagram. Start off from the beginning. A lot was kind of going on, but not really. This episode kind of was based around Brandon and Sienna. I feel like what I was gonna bring into the video was that I heard some tea from other reactors on this show about the show, regarding the show, because apparently Sienna is not 43. Allegedly she's like in her late 30s, but the producers messed it up. So there was one of the things that I've heard. And then also I guess the fight with Dominique and Alexis was fake apparently. And they've been going on live telling people it was fake and it was basically for clout, and the relationship was fake. They were never together, allegedly. So posted like a month ago. So yeah, crazy. But they were saying that they were like, oh, maybe you guys need to fight to add more drama to the show, is what Dominique said. Child, I don't know. Aaron pulls Sienna and Brandon aside to give him a heart-to-heart convo. They wanted to talk about, you know, how to fix their relationship with, you know, each other, because everyone could see that their relationship, or whatever they call it, bullshit. It mentions that they're having a hard time connecting, but she says this every episode. But I feel like the only reason why she says this because I feel like Brandon definitely is trying to connect with her. I think it's Sienna that's having a hard time connecting with Brandon, but she keeps blaming on him. I'm not here for the Brandon slander. I'm just gonna say that right now. When Brandon tries to say that he expressed himself on why it's failing, she of course cuts him off while she's talking. So then, since he saw that you know, they have a huge communication situation, error, whatever you want to call it, Aaron decides to give him like a guitar pick, and they pass it, and whoever has it gets to talk, and they don't have a chance to talk over each other. And it's really mainly for Sienna, because if you could tell from the last few episodes, one to over talk him all the time, and he hasn't really been able to express himself. So this of course didn't last very long, because of course she overtalks him even in this little exercise. So yeah, Brandon goes on to say that he wants to work on their communication, and then she cuts him off and says, we don't have communication issues. I don't have communication issues. But she was really like butthurt about, you know, I guess the last episode where she said she was being vulnerable, he was laughing in her face and she took offense to that. And they were talking about the pool situation, where I added the clip to it in the last video. If you want to check that out, make sure you check it out. I do have a playlist for all my little commentary videos. Then he goes on to say that he has like a nervous laugh issue, and that's why he did it. It wasn't necessarily him laughing at her, but he probably doesn't know how she's going to react to a situation, so he just kind of has like this nervous laugh, which is a common thing. A lot of people have it. I've had it several times. There was one time where I think I was like 17 years old, and I was taking my dog to the vet, and like he was having a really bad, you know, allergy flare-up, which happens every so often, and it was just really, he was very much uncomfortable, in pain, and he was very it was still kind of newish to us on what to do, but I think he was like 4 at this time. But so as the doctor was like working on him, trying to figure out what to do, I think they were asking either my dad or me to hold him down or something. I don't remember, but I just remember that we had to hold him up or down to do the like a little like to check his temperature, all that stuff. So I was like not wanting to do that. So one of the techs come in and they're like, oh, we need you in this room, like a dog has cancer, and there was like a dog that had cancer, and she was explaining that to her, and I busted out laughing when she said, like, you know, there was just too much going on that day, and I was very overstimulated. I was very anxious about, you know, taking him to the vet. So I just started busting out laughing because, and it looked very demonic. It looked like I laugh at dogs that have cancer, but that was really not the case. It was just, like I said, I was very like stressed out over the fact that he was having these issues. So I just didn't know what to do with myself. So the only thing that I could do to express myself other than crying was busting out laughing. And it wasn't like intentional. So it was a very awkward the rest of the day. People consoled me about it to make me feel like I wasn't a psychotic bitch, but I felt like it the rest of the day because I don't laugh at that stuff in my day-to-day life now. But I still have that issue. But it was very awkward after I did it. I remember like they looked at me and they were like, it's very much a normal thing. It happens a lot. So she also like complains about how they were more closer online versus in person. I don't know why she keeps saying this, because like I don't know how long they're gonna be on the show, like in real time. Like I don't know how long it is, because some like shows film for like a month. I don't know how long the time limit is, but you know, she didn't really give that much effort to try to see what was going on, to see how to fix their relationship, how to get closer, because she's just so, everyone is so fixated on whatever the fuck they were going through online. And I don't know what they were saying online to bring them in, but they just keep comparing online. They were better online, they were better online, and it's just kind of getting annoying, I'm not gonna lie. To kind of pick up on here as I'm rewatching everything is that Aaron H, the older Aaron, is kind of a gossiper. I don't know what it is, but I'm noticing a lot when I'm going back reading my notes. I'm like, damn, he's kind of a gossiper, and it's kind of annoying because he's kind of he's always in everyone's business, and he's never focusing on his own relationship. So because they always think that like their relationship, him and Diamond, are like so perfect together, but he has some weird shit going on too. He was just, you know, they swept it under the rug and they moved on, but he's a little sus too. Even with like the last episode that just aired like a couple days ago, that was very sus. Like it made me look at him a lot differently. The way that he cussed at women, and I just don't like that. I thought he was for the women, you know, women's rights, you know, taking care of women, protecting women at all costs. But yeah, I'm really excited to recap that episode because I know that that's gonna be a little bit more interesting to talk about than this one. This one was just basically about talking about Brandon and Sienna the whole time, and after a while it gets kind of boring. So there's not gonna be a lot to say in this episode either. I should have combined 3 and 4 together, but it is what it is. Everyone is downstairs. Diamond decided to do, you know, a little game, and she's like, oh, let's play a game where basically all you have to do is that she asks a question and then they write down the name of the couple that they feel fits that question. And I feel like she did that because to get some tea. I don't know. She's kind of messy too, I'm not gonna lie. These old bitches though, I can't really say that they're old because my mom is like their age, but like she doesn't look old to me, but I feel they're older than me, so you're old. So anyways, I feel like she's just as messy. Diamond and Aaron together is like such a weird thing. It's just kind of, it kind of gives high school. It's giving high school. It's giving, you know, clique. You know, they kind of like are a really bad duo together when it comes to gossiping. Like they were in an intimacy suit in this episode, and they, you know, did their thing, and then they were so busy on gossiping about other couples. And I don't know if it's the producers doing that or if that's generally them, but it's such a turnoff when a man just keeps gossiping about everyone. Like, I don't know, it's just really not my thing. The question that they had was who was the most dramatic couple, and everyone said Brandon and Sienna. Chris said he chose his answer was because I keep calling the men she a lot on here. I don't know why, but maybe it's foreshadowing something. he chose that answer because Brandon tries to, you know, be really affectionate and really vulnerable with Sienna, but all he sees is that she is always like beating him down, and he feels like she should calm down and not be so, you know, at 100 all the time. You know, that would help a lot of their issues if she wasn't so like angry all the time. But she's very much, I mean, he's very much true on that part. I don't agree with a lot of the things that this man says. I don't understand what's going on back there. So if you hear them fighting in the background, I deeply apologize. The question that Diamond said was, which couple would benefit from couples therapy? And of course, people said Sienna and Brandon, but one person, which was Aaron H., the older Aaron, chose Aaron and Joe because he was like, yeah, you guys are the ones that have the least intimacy in the house. And like peeping that they don't hang out with each other a lot in the house. And I feel like this is when they start like being weird about Joe, because in the future episodes they kind of start like bullying Joe, and this is Aaron and Diamond in the future episodes. And then it became like a domino effect, and everyone started kind of like shitting on Joe and yelling at Joe because they just kept thinking that she wanted like Chris all the time. And I think this episode kind of like showed me that this is probably when it starts, because they do mention in this episode like, oh, I feel like Joe and Chris have a lot of chemistry, but when I see them talking, it's like homeboy and homegirl friendly talks. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just very platonic to me. It doesn't seem like they have chemistry in that way. And you can have chemistry as friends, but not in a romantic sense. But they are just like, oh my god, like they keep peeping that she's more outgoing with Chris versus with Aaron, her man that she brought. So I don't know, it's very annoying because like it starts becoming like a little rumor, and I feel like it kind of starts around this episode. Joe says the reason why they aren't intimate is that because she feels like she doesn't have to be on top of him all the time to show that she likes him. She just kind of she's on her own path, she's on her own thing. She shows intimacy in different ways, and to happen naturally. She doesn't want to be forced. And when she was talking about this, they point to Shay and Josh because they're probably like one of the few couples that are always on top of each other all the time. So I was just like, huh, is that shade? I want people to dig more into Shay and Josh, because even though I said rooting for them, and I still am, you know, but I want to know if he's a love bomber and stuff. I feel like we focus too much on the fact that they're always on top of each other, and I feel like it's a little bit weird that, you know, since they were in a relationship, he had a baby on her, and I don't feel like enough people talk about that. Their dynamic is very odd to me. I don't really understand it, but they're the most normal one, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't want to shit on their parade, but I still am a little bit, you know, sus about Josh. They don't really seem like they really have deep talks about real things other than physical things. And I get that's kind of like how it starts in, you know, in the beginning, but I feel like by now we're like a couple weeks into the show in real time, and I feel like they should start getting, like, them two as a whole should start getting more into like the deep conversations, you know, what their relationship is going to see and play out in the future. So yeah, Aaron, you know, after, you know, Joe said her piece about the intimacy comment, Aaron says, which I thought was weird, but he's like, oh, there's couples that live in different houses and are still happy. You really thought you ate with that one? I don't know. I've seen couples that, well, I've heard of couples that live in separate beds and still thrive. I've heard of those, and maybe they're onto something here, but I don't know. I'm also not a relationship expert, so I really don't know, but I'm just kind of like going off of what I've seen in person, what I've gone through. So that's why I'm just kind of like, I don't get why he said it, but I kind of get why he said it. But yeah, then they were like, oh, which couple's the most, I can't even talk, which couple argues the most, and everyone voted on Brandon and Sienna. So there was that. It was I feel like it was just to get tea to see who is the most unstable couple in this on the can I talk today? Then the host randomly comes in and she starts talking about how, well, now, you know, your family's gonna start coming in and giving their opinions on your guys' relationship, and Brandon and Sienna's friends were the first to come to the house. Brandon's childhood friend from 3rd grade was the first to come, and a lot of people were talking about his hair. And at first I didn't pay attention to it because I was just like, you know, I just want to see how this plays out. I don't know if he's gonna, like, you know, give real advice or he's just gonna sweep it under the rug. So I just wanted to see, and I was focused on what he was saying versus the hair. And now looking back on the hair, I'm like, okay, it's just a little thin in the front, and I feel like he should have like combed it backward. Was talking about, well, he, as in Brandon, was like, oh, he called me a bitch, and he was saying that he wasn't really like feeling her as much. I feel like he was saying that he was starting to feel like, you know, distant with her, felt very hurt and disrespected. So I think this is when he starts kind of like seeing there was a pattern, and I think he always kind of knew, but you can tell slowly that he was starting to notice a pattern. It's like, oh, what are you guys' future plans together? And then he said, never say never, which means to me is like, are you keeping the door open, or like what is going on? When they had like this part where he's talking about things that he liked about her, it was always physical. It was never things that is personality wise, but I can see why, because she's kind of insufferable. So I'm just like, okay. They only show like the 3 clips of when she was actually calm and normal. The rest of the times, like, it's kind of hard to get a montage of Sienna and Brandon because all they do is argue. Diamond and Aaron sit out with Shay and Josh to see if they had any plans of getting married. Josh was like, yeah, like I do have plans on to marrying her, you know. I don't know, I don't really believe it, but yeah. But then all of a sudden she's like, well, you know, like there was no jump cuts in between that. She just was like,
well, I heard you had a baby on her.
Okay. And his face was like, this is why you brought me out here? So it was just weird. Josh said it was a roommate situation. I'm guessing, well, you know, it doesn't take that much to figure out what happened here, but basically he slept with his roommate unprotected. Now they have a daughter together. I don't know if it was his friend, his girl space friend, or I don't know if it's just strictly just a roommate, but yeah. He was basically kind of like moved past the, you know, conversation. He was just kind of like trying to give him like quick answers, like, yeah, it was a roommate situation. And, you know, I told Shay immediately. She was upset initially, but she moved on. So, but she was like, oh, I'm thankful to know that he didn't wait 9 months down the line. And he told me like right when it happened, right when the girl found out. What to say, honestly. I really don't know what to say about that situation. It's a little odd to me, but you know, I guess since she moved on, we all should move on. Because I know a lot of people do like think that's weird, and I think it's weird myself. But basically, like, the whole conversation, he was just like, he like abruptly ended the conversation. He's like, oh yeah, I'm getting chewed up by bugs, and that's how he got out of the conversation. He just kind of like gave him a short answer to shut them up. But I really think genuinely she just wanted some tea to judge them on, to gossip with Aaron and all that stuff. His friend comes and talks about, you know, their relationship. That, like, in the pandemic era, so she goes on to talk about like they're from the Bronx, and I think like Sienna's whole personality is she's from the Bronx because that's all she fucking talks about. I get it. I hate when people make the city that they're from their whole personality. Sienna talks about how they've been arguing a lot, and then she said that Brandon called her too emotional. And she said that she didn't like that, you know, when they had their differences after they argued, he went to go confide to a woman. And I think she was talking about Millie. in this situation. So she didn't like that he went to go run to another woman to talk about their problems, even though she does that a lot herself. So she was getting upset and stuff about him doing it, but all he talks about is that they don't communicate well, in that he can't like express himself fully because she's always yelling. It's all the same stuff I've already been talking about. That's what he talks about with everyone else. But I think he did say to Millie that she's more easy to talk to. I mean, Millie is very sweet and open-minded. She's very understanding, but I think she just felt like it was like a gut punch, and I don't think she likes to feel like she's in the wrong. Never mentioned that she called him a bitch several times, dogs him out, degrades him, you know, emotionally abuses him. She never mentioned that to her friend. She just was like, this is what he did wrong, this is what I don't like about him, and was pointing at him instead of what led to that situation, which I didn't like. She just went straight to just that instead of, well, because for me personally, if someone is telling me like, oh, they got into an argument with so and so, I would like to hear both sides. Friend doesn't really seem to say much about her as a character, like, since she didn't really give her a lot of, you know, context to what happened. I don't feel like she can really say much about them as a whole. Like, I don't know, but I feel like her friend is not really like, she probably doesn't like to, like, she's probably one of those friends that just swallows her tongue and doesn't like to like make their friend upset, like a people pleaser type shit. But she definitely needs to hear that she is in the wrong. Like, I'm not trying to sound like a hater here, but there is a concerning pattern in all these videos, all these episodes with her. So it's not just me. I'm not hating, I'm just giving constructive criticism. I think it's weird that she moves like this, and I think it's concerning. I definitely feel like sometimes, like, if the cameras weren't there and it was just her and Brandon in an apartment alone, she seems like the type that would throw shit during an argument. Like, she just does not seem like she should be around anyone but herself. Like, she is really mean, you know? And she keeps saying that she can take constructive criticism, but when Brandon tries to say nicely, like, yeah, you aren't really good at listening, she starts screaming. How is that taking constructive criticism? If she wants a man so bad, maybe she should start with the things that people told her several times. Like, you know, because she has said, like, people said that many people that she's dated, like, they tell her how inconsistent she is. And let's start there and then gradually move up. Then when Greg and Millie in the pool, they were like making out, and it was very awkward. I could tell that she was very like uncomfortable by it. When he went to go kiss her, she kind of like did this weird backing away thing. Like, they were just kind of like talking about random shit and stuff like that, and then he just kissed her. And then so when they went upstairs, she was talking about to Joe and Sandia that she felt like the kiss was forced. It didn't feel like it was organic. She didn't feel goosebumps when they kissed, and that she was like, well, he didn't even tell me like that I was pretty. We were just talking about random stuff, and then he kissed me. Definitely kind of like showing more and more signs that he's like a horn dog, but he keeps saying that he likes to work for those things, but I don't know how much longer truthfully he can stand working for it, because they haven't really been that intimate. They've been holding out on it because Millie is really into like being mentally stimulated and things to happen organically. Yeah, she said in the confessional also that she wants to feel more comfortable with Greg, but right now she feels like he's basically just trying to do things to get into her pants, and she doesn't like that, which I can see that. he's been kind of like more vocal about, he's been kind of like, he keeps saying that he's okay with waiting, but he's also kind of giving hints, kind of aggressive hints, that he's kind of tired of waiting. He'll play it off as a joke, gonna still keep trying to stick it out because he likes her, but I could tell that he's getting more and more frustrated with her, but he plays it off as a joke because people kind of pick up on that he's very, it's really weird, and it's like mostly the dudes that pick up on how sexually frustrated he is. He must talk about it a lot to them or something, but I just kind of peep things when I watch it. I'm like, wow, okay. Oh, I'm so itchy. But in the intimacy suit, Aaron and Diamond were talking about how like back to what I was saying, how they feel like Jody would rather be with Chris than the, you know, the rumor start. And I think honestly, like, Aaron was the one to start the rumor. It is kind of like annoying. It's very much childish, and if she does like him, like, why is it everyone's business? Like, you guys are there to focus on your own relationships. And I also noticed that like Shay and Josh are always like, I'm gonna focus on me, I'm gonna focus on my relationship, but they're always in everyone's mess. They're always like, oh, I saw that she did this, I saw that he did that, and they'll talk to the person that's upset about whatever happened. They did it a few times. It was mostly Shay that did it, but she was also the one that'd be like, I want to focus on my relationship, you know. But you're always there when there's some tea going on. Like, you always know all the tea. Like, she's always like, what happened, what happened? I thought you said you were focusing on your relationship and you didn't want to be in other people's mess. I'm here for the chismosa too, but stand on your word. Oh yeah, Chris says like he was talking about how like he gets along with everyone, and he feels like him and Jody, like, they think alike, and that probably prompted people more to like, oh my god, they like each other. Millie was kind of annoying because she's like, I feel like they're having sex in front of me because they laugh together and this, that, and the third. And I'm just like, that's kind of reaching. Since when is laughing together across the table having sex? They don't like people getting along. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like, you guys are all stuck and confined in this big ass house. And I would rather get along with people, be cordial with everyone, versus, you know, always being tense. That's just me personally. Kind of starts getting like a little messy. So when Brandon meets with Sienna upstairs, because Shay and Sienna were talking about, you know, they were gossiping about Brandon, about how she called him boring. She felt like it was a dig at her character. Like, she was kind of like thinking about it, like about the Kama Sutra situation, and she's like, what if he's calling me boring? She felt like it was a dig, and she was getting more and more mad about it as the days passed, about the whole boring comment. And then he's like, I wasn't calling you boring, I was saying the position was boring. And then she's like, well, what did you and Millie talk about? I heard you and Millie were talking. But she was talking to Greg downstairs about Brandon. So I don't understand why it's different for her to do the same thing that Brandon did. What was I saying? It's not okay for Brandon to do what she did, but it's okay for her to do what Brandon did. I don't understand. So yeah, basically they were both gossiping about each other the whole time, with different couples and different people in the house. But she didn't like that Brandon was doing it because she felt like he was talking shit about her.
What did you say? What did you say? What did you say? What did you say? How are you gonna sit in my face and then turn around and talk about me behind my back?
Everything.
Yo, what did you say?
I'm literally trying to talk to you, and then you just look at me now. This is the whole point.
She's like, well, what did you say exactly? And then he was like, well, some of it is private. And this is when she gets really angry. What a shocker. He was like, I feel like you're more bothered about me having interactions with other people, talking about them. What did you say? What did you say? What did you say? Like, she was going on for probably like 5 minutes, and it probably was like more like longer than that, but they probably had to edit it down because she said it so many times. But she was just getting louder and more angrier because she was like, I feel like you're talking shit. You can be saying I don't like that bitch and I don't even know what you said. Any of those things. He was just saying that like they have communication problems, and he probably feels like he's scared to talk about those things with her because she's like literally a ticking time bomb. And anyone can look at this and be like, she is a walking red flag, but I feel like the fact that she's pretty is what people are like, not disregarding, but like I feel like pretty privilege is definitely a thing in this situation. They talk about her as a person. I feel like he just sticks it out because he was sticking it out because he was still attracted to her. He wasn't like trying to hear what he was saying, even though she kept asking him, what did you say? I feel like she was just waiting for something that wasn't there. He did not say anything bad about her. So after Sienna was done yelling, he was saying he went downstairs to talk to Chris because Chris was like, I heard you guys yelling. Why is she still yelling? Because I guess she was still yelling and screaming as Brandon was going downstairs, because she was getting mad that his shoes were on the bed or something, and then she was getting mad at that too. He went to go downstairs to talk to Chris about it, and then he's like, you need to like break up or something because this is not gonna work. And he's like, I wasn't necessarily talking behind her back. All he was trying to do was express himself, and then he was saying that he was done with the relationship, and that's basically where it ends. It's just a lot of screaming the last few minutes of the episode, but that's pretty much all. Like there's a lot going on. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about the episode, what you think about the recap. I'm still trying to get used to doing the recaps. It's not really something I normally do, but I'm still trying to get the hang of it. But I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.